welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina and here's another weekly wrap-up. This week was the Hemisphere Christmas Games readathon and I completed 5 of the 6 books I had planned for this week. I decided to resubscribe to World of Warcraft and check out Shadowlands, and that was my mistake. I should have known, but that's okay. The 6th book, I'm maybe a third of the way through it, and I will finish it because I'm also reading it for the Reindeer Readathon. But the first book I'll talk about is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. I was wrong when I explained about this book in my TBR video. I thought she had like agoraphobia, like just a fear of going outside. I was mistaken. The main character in here, what's her name again? What's her name again? It doesn't really matter. Madeline. The main character in this book is Madeline, and she has some rare disease. She uses the example of the bubble boy, where basically she's allergic to the world. Random things will trigger her illness, will make her extremely sick, and they don't know what exactly triggers it. So she has never left her house in 17 years. 16? I think she's 16. She lives with her mom, and her nurse Carla doesn't live there, but is there every day. Those are the only 2 people that she ever has contact with, other than an occasional tutor who stops by every once in a while in person, but it's usually just online. And everything is fine and fantastic until Ollie moves in next door, and she wants more. I really like this. And I don't know how to talk about this book without spoiling it. It's hard to talk about this book without spoiling it. I'm going to try. It's a YA contemporary, and so it's that whole angsty teen first love, but then you have the added conflict of the fact that she can't leave her house, and they're not supposed to meet in person, and they're not supposed to touch. So most of their relationship is through emails and chatting and window messages, because their windows are right across from each other. And the whole romance was cute. Her relationship with her nurse Carla was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. I read on Scribd a Christmas story from Australia called 12 Days of Christmas. I was also wrong about this in my TBR. I thought it was going to be a, what do you call it? A Groundhog's Day kind of story. You know, thinking like, okay, she's going to be like repeating it 12 times or something. No. This is why I guess maybe some people read synopsises before they start reading the book, but you know, whatever. And my dog is losing his mind. 12 Days of Christmas by Juliet Madison. I'll put the picture here. This was adorable. I I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. The story is about Abby. Abby is a writer of romance, um, and her grandmother recently passed away, so she's having a lot of trouble writing her next story, which is due really soon. Um, and then one day, her grandmother's ghost, right? Was not expecting that, uh, shows up to send her off on a journey to find her grandmother's first love. Uh, it's a really wonderful story. Their grandmother was in love with this man who would go boy that ended up going to war, and she waited for him and waited for him, and he never came back, and she ended up moving on, but still was still in love, like never stopped loving him, and it was never resolved. And so the 12 Daves is, of course, his name is Dave Smith. How much more common of a name can you get? Um, but there's 12 of them that maybe live on the island, or I believe, and so her and her ghost grandma go on a road trip to each of the Daves to find her Dave. And it was just so, like, this is definitely what I would call like a clean romance. Is that what they? I don't read too many of these. A lot of my romances are heavy on the smut, on the sex. But this was not one of those. But it was just so heartwarming and just made me super happy. It was just uplifting, happy, and I'm a sucker for these kinds of stories. Sucker. So I did give 12 Days of Christmas a 5-star. It's a very short story, very short book. Though I will say that Goodreads is wrong, and I need to. It's gonna bug me. I should like message them because they say it's 72 pages, but it's not. It was like still wasn't a ton, but it was over 100, 130, something like that. And I want them to change it because I'm like that, and I wish I could change it myself, but I understand why I can't. The next book I read was supposed to be Joy to the Wolves by Terry Spear, but it's still not here from the library. I don't know if this person is just not going to give the book back, because I feel like I haven't double checked, but like it's overdue. Like, I'm just not going to get to read this book because only one of my library locations has it, so it's on ordered for another one. I get it, it just came out, and it's not like a super popular title, so not every library location is going to get one, but it made me sad. But she did have another Christmas book that I hadn't read yet and actually found on either Scribd or Kindle Unlimited. I forget which one. But it's Covert Cougar Christmas by Terry Spear. It's one of her shapeshifter stories. A very short one. And I binge read every single Terry Spear shifter romance I could get my hands on earlier this year, like the beginning of the quarantine, April, May, June, I don't know, something like that. So I had high hopes for Covert Cougar Christmas because I love Terry Spears. I love her shifter books, but this one just, man, maybe it was shorter than the other ones. I'd have to check, but I just felt like I didn't get invested like I usually do. like the little bit of conflict or like happened wasn't enough for me to like super root for these people as a couple. Like I wish the conflict that would have been a little bit more life threatening. I guess I don't know. So I gave it a 3 star. It wasn't horrible. It was a good story. It was just average. It's just I didn't love it. I didn't really like it. It was just eh. It was good. It was alright. So that was Covert Cougar Christmas. And I also read, I just finished this morning actually, it's cutting it close, Shadows Cast by Stars by Catherine Knudsen. I believe also on Scribd. I still have not gotten new glasses yet. Sorry. This one is, yeah, I would consider this YA. This is definitely more of a dystopian YA fantasy. This is a Own Voices work written by a Native American, well, not Native American, because indigenous, let's just say indigenous. I don't know if it was from America or if they're from somewhere else. And so this story is about Cassie? Yeah, Cassandra and her brother Paul, and they are others. And in this world, a plague descended upon the world, and a lot of people died before they realized that the others, Aboriginal peoples, were immune and their blood was a cure. Not 100% cure, apparently. It didn't even work 100% of the time, but it was good enough for them to start hunting down the others and taking their blood. So in this story, Cassandra and Paul are living with their father, and things are going pretty good, but then I honestly forget exactly what happened. Something happened, and the searchers were coming, and so they had to leave, and there's an island, or really, dog? Really? Must you? Okay. The bed is not going to change its shape for you. It's not a blanket that you make perfect. We done? Okay, cool. And so this one was a very big into like myth and the old gods, the Sistules, I do not know how to pronounce that, which was like a dragon serpent totem, the raven, some other mythical creatures that I can't pronounce. But so they go to this island that's a safe haven for people, because it's at some point previously some women had come together and done some ceremony ritual magic to create a boundary around the land, so to keep people safe. It's kind of failing, but they're going to take their chances, and a lot of just stuff happens on this island. They're outsiders, so they're kind of trying to like fit in and find their place, and she becomes she falls for a boy on the island and becomes like the apprentice to the, what is she called? The healer, I guess. Kept wanting to say witch doctor, but that didn't sound right. It took me a second. It took me a while to get through this book for some reason. I think just the beginning, maybe, I don't know if it was a little slow or I was just having a hard time concentrating. It turned around and the ending had me hooked, or like the whole maybe second half of the book had me hooked. Like I wanted to know, like, okay, how y'all gonna get out of this? How are you gonna solve this, fix this? So I did end up giving it a 4-star, and I'm really excited for the next one. And I'm sorry, I feel like I did a horrible job of explaining that book. So I'm sorry. The last book that I completed, right? Yeah, that's 5, is One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake. I read 3 Dark Crowns earlier this year, or a few months ago, and I was kind of on the fence about continuing. Like, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, the first book. The second book, I feel like, stepped it up, though. Like, there was definitely more action and, I think, intrigue, because we've now learned all the characters. You know how that goes. And I really want to read the third book to find out what happens to these girls. Like, I just want to know. I want to know how. Yeah. So I'm not really going to be able to. I don't know how I can explain this, but I don't want to spoil book 1. So basically, the first book was about 3 sisters, 3 queens in this world. The queen that reigns always has triplets, and once she has her triplets, her reign as queen is over, and she can finally leave the island. Oh, that's right. They're all stuck on this island. They can't leave. Well, the queens anyway. And the triplets are raised by some lady at the Black Cottage. I don't remember the lady's name. For 6 years, and after 6 years, they are taken and separated into their factions. The first 6 years, they figure out what the girl's power is, what faction she was born into. You've got the poisoners. So one of the sisters is usually immune to poisons, or like even like wants poison, like craves it, kind of, I guess. One sister is a naturalist, which means they can, I think I'm kind of like as druids, but they are definitely like nature. They're fishermen, and they can end up, if their power is strong, they can have a familiar, so a powerful bond or psychic connection with an animal that chooses them, kind of, I think. And they're very much in sync. And then the other one was a elemental. the other faction, main faction, is an elementalist, and they can control the weather. So they can make storms happen, wind, lightning, all that fun stuff. And so from the age of 6 until 16, I forget how old they are when everything starts, but they are training in their power and being a queen and getting strong, because once the year of ascension starts, the three sisters have to try to kill each other, because only one queen can survive and be crowned, and you can't just abdicate the throne. You can't say mercy. You don't have much choice in the matters, apparently. Um, and so the whole first book was just getting to know all of the characters involved, and then there was a little bit of back and forth. Oh my gosh. Why? Come on. Can you do it? Yeah, you can do it. Okay. Apparently Peanut's going to join us for the rest of this video. Okay. And so this book is that whole, then it ended like the quickening, which dictates the start of the ascension. And so now this book takes place in the year of ascension, where the three of them have started trying to kill each other. They weren't allowed to try to kill each other before no, come on, before the year of the ascension started. So this one was a really, really, really fun read, and I'm excited to find out how it all ends. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Like button, subscribe to see more, and comment down below. Seriously, if you've read any of these books, if you agreed with me, disagreed with me, let me know. I want to chat. Thanks. Bye.